Trump was impeached. It's January 14th. Big story of the day. Trump was impeached. So let's see how these events started and what it means and what's happening. Starting us off, we have a story from CNBC saying that Pelosi calls Trump clear and present danger to the nation during impeachment debate. Thanks, National Guard. In a story from CNBC, we have Pelosi's remarks regarding the January 6th riots and how this led to impeachment. Pelosi gave each of the troops a so-called challenge coin, marking their mission of protecting the seat of the legislative branch of the American government, which was surrounded by rioters on January 6th after Trump urged attendees at a rally to help fight to block the confirmation of Joe Biden as the next president of Congress. Pelosi later took to the floor of the House. "He must go. He is a clear and present danger to the nation that we all love," she said. "The president must be impeached, and I believe the president must be convicted by the Senate. A constitutional remedy that will ensure that a republic will be safe from this man who is so resoundingly determined to tear things down that we hold so dear." I think something that's intentional here that we need to keep note of is Pelosi is not impeaching based on Trump's speech. She is also not impeaching based on the claim that saying that the election was a fraud. She is clearly impeaching based on this clear and present danger clause. I think ABC kind of gives the story of why you can't talk about what Trump said in his speech. Mainly, if you watch this video edit that they intentionally leave out the parts where Trump is proposing for peaceful marching. If you look at Trump's speech in the entirety, you'll see this one remark towards the end that, "I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Today we will see whether Republicans stand strong for integrity of our elections, but whether or not they stand strong for our country. Our country has been under siege for a long time, far longer than this 4-year period." Peaceful marching has always been a means of political protest. Notably, there was the Women's March about 4 years ago. March for Life happens, every year. There's always been a standard that doing peaceful marches is, always allowed, is never seen as inciting violence. I think something also to note here is that when Trump was giving this speech, the rioters were already attacking the Capitol. They already got through the police lines, so they could not have been reacting to Trump. I think this tweet also kind of gets to my other point that you can't just claim election fraud is the standard for being impeached, because we have a tweet here back from the 2016 election from Pelosi, where she states, "Our election was hijacked. There is no question. Congress has a duty to protect our democracy and follow the facts." This just shows the blatant double standard that is consistently being seen throughout this election cycle. Next, I want to review some of the remarks from journalists during the impeachment hearings, notably a couple that seem very hypocritical. First, we have Jake Tapper regarding Congressman Brian Mast. Brian served in the military and lost his legs as a result, and we see the following remarks.
That's relevant. What you're saying right now is relevant because Congressman Brian Mast, a Republican from Florida, who lost his legs, by the way, fighting for democracy abroad. Although I don't know about his commitment to it here in the United States.
I think this just shows the blatant disregard for patriotism in, at this point it's CNN, but this is a constant theme throughout the entire popular news medium, is this, say that they're fighting for democracy when they don't care about democracy. They care about what their side is saying and only defending what they believe to be true. There's a blatant double standard happening here. Jake Tapper knows that he never served the country. He doesn't know what it means to serve. Neither do you unless you are a veteran. Neither do I. I think it's kind of horrendous to be attacking some of them. From the Hill, we have, what I think is one of the most important stories of the day. Well, they notably think one of the noteworthy pieces that are relevant to the impeachment is that Pelosi wears the same outfit she did during the first Trump impeachment. In the article, they state, Speaker Nancy Pelosi wore the same outfit she appeared in when the House voted to impeach President Trump in December 2019. for the chamber's second push to impeach the president on Wednesday, her office confirmed to The Hill. MSNBC and other news outlets noted early Wednesday, ahead of the scheduled floor debate, that Pelosi appeared to be wearing the same black dress and gold necklace she wore in December 2019, when the House passed 2 articles of impeachment accusing Trump of abuses of power and obstruction of Congress. This, Madam Speaker, your clothing attire is the most important thing that is of note of the day. It's a shame we might never be able to see the wear again, because Pelosi has stated that she's going to step down at the end of the current term. But impeachment has now become a thing that happens yearly, so maybe she'll bring it out again. I think another notable thing is this idea of a congresswoman who apparently gave out Pelosi's location during the siege. I think so. This comes from Colorado Congresswoman Lauren Boebert. She's the same congresswoman that's been making a lot of noteworthy comments regarding guns in DC, and we see a complete hypocrisy again. So the tweets that they're complaining about, she states that we were locked in House chambers. Something to that nature has been sent by multiple congressmen and women, and it was given before there were any remarks about them not supposed to be using Twitter. However, Lauren then says the speaker has been removed from the chambers, and this is where everyone's up in arms that she gave out Pelosi's location. I think everyone knows that this is just a dumb argument. Right now, I can say that the president, the vice president, the speaker, President Xi of China, Al-Qaeda, none of them are in my apartment. That does not help anyone in getting any of them. Saying someone is not somewhere is very different from saying that they are somewhere. I don't know why this is, such a hard thing to understand, but, that's the standard of journalism now. Back to The Hill, we have a story that Representative Bush calls Trump a white supremacist president on House floor. Something that's important to note for this is there actually had to be a rule change to allow a lot of the racist language or the claims of racism on the House floor. Generally, there are procedures on the House that say that they have to maintain a standard of journalism, or not a journal, like a standard of like character attacks that are generally not allowed. However, they passed the rules for the impeachment trial, stating that it was allowed for this specific occurrence. We'll see if stuff like this starts to happen more often, but it just gets to the who's being unprecedented during these times. The remarks from the article, newly sworn-in Representative Cori Bush referred to President Trump as the white supremacist in chief in her remarks on the House floor on Wednesday as the lower chamber prepares to impeach the president for a second time. She continues using language of calling him a white supremacist, racist, etc. And it just goes to the, what are we actually doing here? Are we doing character attacks based on, are we impeaching based on character attacks on policy or for actually inciting violence? I think another interesting piece of journalism comes here from MSNBC's one of their anchors, Ari Melber. It was a direct consequence of what Donald Trump has been doing for 4 years, trying to turn this country, your country, into an authoritarian nation that he would lead indefinitely. It is that serious. I really appreciate that MSNBC is starting to turn over a new leaf and push for non-authoritarianism. This is one of the hallmarks of what I'm trying to do here. I'm not a fan of authoritarianism on the left or the right. Arguably, I think MSNBC is going to allow the authoritarianism in the next 4-year regime. I think what we're going to look for is how long does it take Biden to do some type of missile attack on kids, just like, a lot of his predecessors do, and I will see if the war crime attacks begin then. Finally, I just want to talk about what is in the future for Congress. First, there was one bill that was brought up. Currently, right now, it's just in summary stages. They haven't gotten very far with it. But there is Resolution 12, which is proposing an amendment to the Constitution of the United States to limit the number of terms that a member of Congress may serve. This is coming from Ralph Norman, of South Carolina. He just started his term back in 2016. He is a Republican. I think there's actually a decent chance that this might be heard. Yes, the House is currently run by Democrats, but I think if there is enough, there should be reasonable support coming from both sides of the aisles on this. Talk about limiting terms has been a pretty bipartisan thing. I think it would be interesting to see how long they push for it to be, how many members of Congress it would push out as a result, potentially. And I think it really gets back to what some of the foundational principles of were for our government, which is proposing that, you come in, you say your bit, and then you get out of government. I think everyone on both sides of the aisle are sick of these lifelong politicians that, they don't understand you and me. Finally, in terms of Mitch McConnell and the upcoming impeachment, we have two stories. First, we have that Mitch McConnell is currently undecided on how he's going to vote on the impeachment. There is a really good remark here, if I can find it very quickly, where he states essentially that he's going to do it. Here it is. I have not made a final decision on how I will vote, and I tend to listen to the legal arguments when they are presented to the Senate. This should be the standard of every single senator. There should be, if anyone is coming in with an opinion, like at this point, then they're not doing their constitutional duty as part of the Senate. The Senate serves like a jury. Obviously, they aren't, jury of peers that are, unbiased or whatever. But I think this needs to be the standard that we hold our senators to on both sides of the aisle. We want them to be making their basis for impeachment based on legal arguments, not policies, not just, purely rhetoric, but, was there a legal principle that the Trump and his campaign committed a high crime or misdemeanor, which is the standard for impeachment that has been consistently held. Finally, from NPR, when they're reviewing, they state that McConnell is apparently stating that he will not be reconvening the Senate early for trial. And the result of that means that unless the trial happens in a day, which is very unlikely, Trump will be out of office before the Senate can even convict. Not that that's the standard for not doing an impeachment, but it really, dampens how important the vote could possibly be if it does happen. It would really just stop Trump from holding office in the future, and I think it was unlikely that he was going to be running in 2024, as much as there was talk for it. So that's your updates on the impeachment, how it happened, why it happened, what happened during it, and the future. Thanks for tuning in. This was your Not So News update. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video to see more in the future. Have a good one.